Flosstube. Welcome to my channel. My name is Robin and you have found my channel, Lady Robins. This is a channel all about cross stitch. So welcome, sit back, enjoy. I hope that you are here for the stitching because that's what I'm going to talk about. I'm also Lady Robins on Instagram, so you can follow me in two places if you're interested. Today is the 16th of November, and this is my Flosstube number 97. So we are getting up to a great big huge 100, which is very exciting. I'm thinking I'm gonna have to do something big about that. But before I get too carried away with what I'm gonna do in 3 floss tubes, let's concentrate on what I'm gonna do in this floss tube. How about that? Let's start with coffee, shall we? I am in my mug of the day, and I picked this one because it would match my red sweater. You can see I've already had some coffee. My lipstick is on there. We have got Disney's Hollywood Studios, and in here I've got nothing interesting except brewed coffee. So there you have it, brewed coffee for the day again. All right, so what did I stitch on, you guys? I told you on last floss tube that I was going to concentrate on Phil the Pumpkin, the Philanthropic Pumpkin from Hands On Design and LadyDot Creates. Well, I did stitch on that. However, I did not finish. I was hoping I'd finish, but I did not finish. So let's start there. I worked on this. I think I stitched on it for three days. I think 3 days. So I will show you what the finished product is going to look like. So here's our chart. Here is Phil the Pumpkin. And this is where I got to. So I think when last we were together, I think I was up in this area working on those pumpkins. And there's a lot of little tiny bits, single stitches, the leaves and the berries. I finished off all of that stuff. So I still though have almost half the outside border left to do. So Phil the Pumpkin is not going to be finished in time for Thanksgiving. I'm a little sad about that, but at the same time, it's really a sweet, sweet piece. So it'll get there. It just won't be in time for this Thanksgiving, but definitely next Thanksgiving. And I'm going to keep stitching on it even after Thanksgiving because it is super, super cute. And I've got it. I don't know if I showed you this, but in this kit, they did the cutest thing. They took a picture, and by they, I'm thinking, you know, Kathy and oh my gosh, I can't remember the first name of the lady who is LadyDot Creates, but they took the cover photo of the pattern and they shrunk it down and laminated it, and it became like a tag on your floss ring. I think that is so clever because sometimes when you're stitching away and you're looking at the chart, you kind of forget what the end goal is. So it's so cute to have that on your flosses as you're stitching. So I just really appreciate the thought that went into this chart. I think it was really, really well done, and I'm so glad that I was able to snag one because they are sold out now. But anyway, there you go. That's my Phil the Pumpkin. I will keep stitching on this even after Thanksgiving and turkey and all that good stuff, right? And of course I realize that not all my viewers are in the US, but Thanksgiving is approaching next Thursday for us here in the States. And I was a little worried that I've been hearing the words turkey shortage. And so I was trying to figure out, what am I going to do if I can't get a hold of a turkey in time for Thanksgiving? And so we had this, you know, we had a plan. We'd get chicken, and then we could roast a chicken, and there'd still be mashed potatoes and gravy, and it would be fine. But you can all breathe a sigh of relief. I was able to find a turkey for Thanksgiving, but it's a whopper. I found a 16-pound turkey, and that's the smallest turkey I could find. And there's only going to be 8 of us, so I've let my family know that they need to show up hungry. Oh my goodness. There will definitely be a sharing of leftovers. That's for sure. There is going to be lots of leftovers, especially since my son hates turkey. Have you ever heard of such a thing? He doesn't like it. Nope. So we always have to have a backup ham because he's not a turkey guy. So there's even more leftovers than you would think, because I've got one turkey abstainer. Okay, so what else did I stitch on? I do have a little bit of a finish from my JBW Designs Christmas ornament. So the little Scandinavian mitten I was able to finish up this week. So I am super excited about how that turned out. There was a little frogging. I had a little error there that I had to correct, so it took me a little bit longer. And again, kind of like Fill the Pumpkin, because I'm stitching this on, you know, a white, this is a scrap of 32 count white Lugana. I did not carry my threads, so I was having to, you know, start and stop and anchor my stitches, because you know that red is going to show through to the front if I didn't do that. So there's the back of my stitching, and there's the front, and hopefully I don't have anything dragging behind, so when I finish it, that you'll see these red threads going from one side to the other. And then, because I can, here are my other two ornaments that I've completed earlier in the JBW Designs Christmas ornament book. And so, as you can see, I have some white fabric, you know, on the end that I have room for one more. And the one I'm going to stitch this one. That's what's going on the end of that piece of White Lugana. And my dad picked this out. I was actually over at their house stitching this, watching the football game on Sunday with them. And he was wondering what I was stitching, so I showed him the book, and he said to me, well, I know which one I would do next if it were me. And I said, oh, well, which one would you do? That's the one. He likes that little reindeer down there in the bottom. So I thought, okay, Dad can pick out the next one I'm gonna stitch. So that's what's gonna be on the last scrap of that white Lugana. And I think that'll be super, super fun to do that, because my dad picked it out. And who knows if he'll remember, but if he does, I hope it brings him joy to know that I followed his suggestion. All right, what else did I stitch on? That's the question, right? So the next thing that I stitched on was my 25/7 stitching piece. And let me show you that. And we have a hashtag, you guys. Have you been following me on Instagram? One of our lovely viewers, Janine Gallagher, came up with a hashtag for 25/7 stitching for us to use on Instagram. And this whole entire candy cane with the bow is what I completed this week. So just sitting down 25 minutes in the morning with my coffee and putting in a few stitches, completed one of the motifs. I love 25/7 stitching. Our hashtag, I will put it in the show notes so that you can easily find it, but it is 25 and then the underscore, not the dash, the underscore 7 and then XS challenge. So there you go. That is our hashtag. Janine, thank you for making that hashtag for us. I'm using it. I have posted a couple of times last week using that hashtag. It is so fun. So if you are doing 25/7 stitching, jump on that hashtag with us, because I'd love to see what you all are chugging away on. So as you know, this is my Satsuma Street. It is the Noel Mystery Sampler. And the goal was to get it stitched by Christmas. Won't happen. It's not going to happen for me. 25/7 stitching will eventually get me to a finish, but it won't get me to a finish this Christmas. And that's okay. I'm enjoying it. And the fun thing about this piece is all of the beautiful colors that Jodi Rice designed with for this piece. So anyway, that is my 25/7 stitching. I will put the hashtag in the show notes in case you didn't catch what I said. I'm going to try super hard and not to edit this video. I had a dickens of a time last week uploading my video to YouTube, and I am changing a couple of settings on my camera. Camera, it's my iPhone. So I'm hoping that by making a couple of changes that will speed up the uploading, and I'm really going to try to not edit a doggone thing. I don't know, splicing the two videos together, if that was part of my problem. So this is an edit-free video, you guys. We are not here for editing. So we're just gonna have coffee. We're gonna talk about stitching, and what I blab about is what I blab about. All right, I need some more coffee. Okay, so what else did I stitch on? I gave myself permission for a new start, which is crazy. But one of the things is I've purchased patterns for things that I feel that my mom would enjoy having up on her wall. And as you know, my parents are in assisted living, and when we moved them, one of the things we did was we moved mom's piano and tons of music so that she could play and still enjoy her music. So because of that, I felt that, where did it go? Oh, for Pete's sake. Oh, here it is. Oh, for heaven's sake. Sorry, guys. I thought that because mom has been in church choirs her whole life, she loves the old hymns that I thought Amazing Grace by Heartstring Samplery from her Sunday Stitches series would be something that my mom would really enjoy looking at. And she doesn't have any artwork above the piano in the little apartment. So I thought, Amazing Grace. Mom needs Amazing Grace on her wall. And you know, when you get to be 86 years old, there's not a whole lot of things you need at Christmas time. So I thought, I am going to stitch her Amazing Grace, get it framed, and that is what I am going to give her for Christmas. Excuse me. But that means I got to get my button gear. So here is my start on Amazing Grace. I am doing this on a 32 count BeStitchMe fabric in the color Mocha. And this was one of her Fabric of the Month Club pieces. So I am using that. I was shocked that I had none of the called for flosses. I couldn't believe it. I got floss all over this house, and I didn't have the 3 colors that Beth used. So I ended up doing a color conversion. Now, and when I say I didn't have the 3 colors that Beth used, what I mean is I didn't have the 3 fancy flosses that she used. I pulled the DMCs and they looked weird on my fabric. It was really odd. So in the end, I did a color conversion and I just dug through my stash. It's 3 colors. You need a green, a red, and a gray. So this is what I'm using. For my green, I am using Classic Colorworks and I'm using Steamed Broccoli. And that is this color. Now, I'm a little worried that I must have used steamed broccoli on something else because this does not look like 5 yards. So I'm going to call Denise at Threadneedle Street and see if she has some and have her drop it in the mail to me. The other 2 are Color and Cotton, and I am using for my gray, I am using Old Moss, which that'll look good. And then I'm also using Ruby as the red. And it matches my my sweater pretty well. So as you can see, I mean, I've already started stitching the green on there, but there's the red and the gray. I think those will look super nice. So I've got some stitching to do, because this pattern, while it's, you know, it's not full coverage by any mean, it is not as small as I thought. It is 149 by 70. So it's a little bit bigger than you would hope for when you're trying to complete a Christmas present in 6 weeks, right? But I'll get there. I'll get there. I'm the other thing that I was doing, because as you know, I stitch in hand, and I keep thinking, everybody talks about how, you know, fast they stitch in hand. I have been on Flosstube watching people show their stitching in hand, because I'm like, I'm too pokey. I need to pick up some, you know, some tips for stitching faster. It'll be fine, right? So the other thing that I have picked up and is sitting in my stash is the old rugged cross. And Mom's birthday is in February. And so I thought this would be a great companion piece for Amazing Grace. So she'll have 2 pieces on her wall above her piano after her birthday. And then this is pretty similar in size. I'm peeking in. It's 146 by 76. So anyway, the other thing I am gonna switch out the color of the flowers. Mom does like purple, but blue is her favorite color. So I think if I made those blue, she would really, really dig it. So we're gonna do that. All right, what else have I got to tell you? Let's see here. Well, rats. We had to have a little interruption there. That's okay. Can you see Angie peeking down on the bottom of the screen? Oh, there she goes. Okay, so I guess there will be a little editing. No trouble. That's okay. No problem. Okay, so we talked about my new start. We talked about ornaments. We talked about 25/7 stitching. Whip Go. I have not started my second called piece for Whip Go. We'll see if I get to that. I have tons of stitching ahead of me this week, so who knows what my brain will land on as something that I want to work on. Definitely want to work on Mom's Christmas gift. So anyway, we'll see. It'll be a surprise next week. What else? Oh, I wrote myself notes. Giveaways, you guys. I pulled the winners for the 2 giveaways that I had last week. So our fabric is going to Cindy. So Cindy, I will get this in the mail to you. And then the pattern is going to go to Miss Sheila G. So I will put both of those in the mail sometime this week. I don't think it'll be today. I've got to pick up the parents. There is an appointment this afternoon to adjust Dad's hearing aids, so that will be fun, right? In the spirit to keep things moving your way, I have pulled 3 more things that I would like to rehome at your home. So we've got a pattern, we've got fabric, and I have an item from one of my Black Needle Society boxes that is just hanging around here, and I think maybe one of you would be able to enjoy it, because it's not doing me any good if it's just getting dusty, right? So let's move it on. So we're going to do the same thing. We're going to do numbers 1, 2, and 3. The pattern will be number 1. And this is from the Witchy Stitcher. This was in my Black Needle Society Trick or Treat box, and it's called Ghost Stories. And it is, boy, is this a quality pattern. This is really nice glossy paper, nice and thick. So there's another picture of it. So this is number 1. If you would like to stitch this pattern, use the number 1 in your comments, and don't forget to include your name and mailing address on my Google form. I think it's called the Google Happy Mail or Happy Mail form in my show notes. So make sure you do that. The second thing is a piece of fabric, and I won this a couple of years ago, and it was before they called it the Pacific Northwest Stitch Summit, whatever the previous title of that was. But anyway, I won a 45 count piece of linen. Now, I'm probably not gonna ever stitch on 45 count linen, so you guys might. So let's get this off to somebody that will use it. Now, I don't know anything about it. It's a good neutral color. They did say it was a limited run, and it has a few little tiny flaws. So, you know, hopefully you can stitch around whatever those flaws are. So if you would like this 45 count piece of linen, use the number 2 in your comments, and I will pull a winner and get that going. And then the third thing I'd like to send off to one of you guys is this wallet. I'd rather be buying cross stitch, which, oh, isn't that true? But again, I've got a wallet that I love, and not that this is a horrible wallet, but I'm just not using it. And so maybe one of you needs a new wallet, or maybe you need a gift because Christmas is coming, right? So anyway, use the number 3. This is a little bit bigger. I am going to limit this to US only, just because I'm afraid with shipping delays that it will never get to its intended home if I don't. So US only for the wallet, but I will send the fabric and the pattern anywhere. So 1, 2, 3, don't forget, fill out the form. Okay, I think that might be it for active stitching. I will tell you that I went through my whips. I just did a little whip organization, and what I did was I have all sorts of things kitted up, right? Kitted up, fabric, maybe half of the floss, maybe all of the floss, and they're sitting in project bags right there on my bookcase, right over there. And it's making me feel like I have 80,000 whips, because I see all these bags lined up, and they're, you know, they're all fat, and they, you know, what I decided to do is, you guys are probably gonna, you know, gasp. I unkitted things, and I put my flosses back in my storage bins. I put the patterns in my, I have my patterns in magazine files, alphabetical by designer. If I had bought the fabric for the piece, I tucked the fabric inside the pattern. Excuse me, I have the hiccups all of a sudden. I stuck the fabric in the pattern, and I filed that into my magazine files because I'm a mess. Sorry. I decided that it was actually, it was bothering me that there was so much stuff sitting on that shelf. It felt like I had 40 whips going. I have at this point, which is, it's still a big number, right? But I have 18 active whips, and I would like to get that number smaller. It feels like all of my whips are really big projects. I've got Cardinal Points, I've got Owl Forest Hyperborea, I've got Quaker Turtles, I've got, what is it? Huckleberry Farm by the Blue Flower. I mean, I have some really big pieces. I've got, what, 3 unfinished Stitching Book Club pieces, which is silly. So I really, really, really want to knock those things down, because I don't feel like I'm allowed a new start, despite the fact that I just gave myself one, when I have all these whips just hanging around. And looking at all those projects bags with all that stuff also made it hard for me even sometimes to decide what to pick. So by trimming that down, it looks like fewer choices because there's less project bags to look at, which means I have lots of empty project bags, which is great because I love project bags. So anyway, I did a little whip cleaning. Now, I also UFO'd 2 pieces, right? Can you believe it? I decided that if in the future I want to restart these pieces, I can, but for now, I took them out of their project bags. I put the fabric back in my stash if I could, and those are off of my radar. So that's what I did. I spent a little bit of time cleaning up my whips, and it feels really good to know that I have under 20. It would feel even better to have under 10. So I don't know if that helps anybody, but it helped me because the visual clutter was too much. So there you have it. What have I been reading? We haven't talked about reading in a few weeks, so I thought I would just take a quick minute, let you know what I'm reading. Let's see here. Here we go. I still have a CD player in my car. I know that is not something that newer cars are being equipped with, but I listened to Lessons from Lucy. It's The Simple Joys of an Old Happy Dog by Dave Barry. And I listened to this on audio CD, just sliding the discs into the CD player. And this was fun. This was only 4 discs, so it was about, I think it was about 7 hours of material. So this went pretty quick because I'm always listening to a book in the car when I'm driving around. I liked it. I liked it. And Dave Barry read it. So it was nice to hear his voice because I do have a little bit of a bias against authors reading their own works because a lot of authors, they're not very good readers. They're not voice actors. And so even though they know the story, I have found of audiobooks that I don't like, of the ones that I didn't like, it was ones that were read by the author themselves. Dave Barry is an exception. He did fantastic. I loved it. The other thing that I read, let's see if I can pull this up in a timely manner. Yep. I also listened to, whoops, where'd it go? I also listened to Trevor Noah, Born a Crime, and this I listened to, I have an Audible subscription through Amazon, and this is another one, I can't believe it, that was read by the author. However, I wasn't at all worried about this because Trevor Noah is a stand-up comedian, and he did fantastic. So he also did a great job reading his own material. And this is it's a biography, more of a memoir of his early years growing up in South Africa during apartheid. It's quite a story, and I highly recommend it. Good heavens. All right, what else? So what am I reading right now? I'm still doing mysteries, girls and boys. A Batter of Life and Death. This is book number 2 in Ellie and Alexander's Bake Shop Mystery. So I am reading this. And then what am I listening to? Another mystery. I am listening to the Thursday Murder Book Club by Richard Osman, and that is a hoot and a half. It is a bunch of seniors who are just dying to solve mysteries, and you know, all sorts of mayhem is happening. I'm only about 5 or 6 chapters into it, but it's hysterical. I thoroughly enjoy it. So there you have it. What I'm reading, what I've read, what I've stitched on, what I'm planning on stitching on. I think we covered it, friends. All right, you guys have a great week, and I will catch up to you when I see you. I do not know if I'll have time next week to do a Flosstube with Thanksgiving being on Thursday here in the US. So if you're in the US and you're going to be doing Thanksgiving, have a happy Thanksgiving. I hope that you have an excellent time with family and friends. And until next time, happy stitching, friends. Okay, bye.